Okay, hopefully you can hear me, hopefully you can see me. I'm using a new camera today and I think this is the first time you guys will have seen it, so hopefully everything's working. I do have the fan on in the back. Anyways, hey guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to film a video on my summer reading list just because I wanted a bit of a record of what I want to read this summer, and then at the end of the summer I'm planning on doing a video of everything I read this summer. So there's a big pile of books that I've been collecting since I've been here. Let me actually start with the most recent one that I got. I got One Day. Something that I wanted to read for a while, but I said to myself, let me read the book first and then watch the series because everyone was loving that series a few years ago. From what I know, it's about these two main characters, Emma and Dexter, and they meet for the first time on the night of their graduation, and then I'm pretty sure it's like a fast forward thing. They're showing different timelines and they're showing that every single year they meet and obviously they have a relationship. It's a romance, but also people say it's really devastating as well. There is this author called Carissa Broadbent, and I've loved her for the last couple of years. I've only read one series by her, and that is the Crowns of Nyxia series. It's called The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and it is one of the best fantasy books I have ever read. If anyone has read Throne of Glass, you know how good that series is. This is like nearly on the same level. Like, I find it difficult to find authors like Sarah J Maas who have so much character development and the plot twists are so good. This book nearly reached that level. So that's high praise coming from me because Throne of Glass is my favourite series ever. This is part of a duology. So I've read this and the second book. This girl called Araya, she is the adopted daughter of this, there are vampires in this, of this vampire king. Because she's fully human, she basically has to work twice as hard than anyone else. There's this tournament called the Kajari, and she enters it because her dad tells her to, and she's been training her whole life for this. The prize for this tournament is you get one wish or something from this like sacred goddess. It's basically very similar to the Hunger Games and also Throne of Glass Book 1. You just have little challenges that you have to complete in order to win the overall tournament, but the catch is that she's human, so it's very difficult for her because she's competing against vampires who obviously all have these special powers. She has to survive, so she teams up with this ally, and his name is Rain. Planning on rereading it this summer because this author has got other series in the same universe. So this book is something that I picked up recently. I think it's a duology again. This book series is all about a character who we are familiar with from this book. This one I haven't read at all, so I'm excited to read this. I actually don't even know what it's about. I know the character because obviously I've read about her, but it'll be interesting to read what happened to her. This book is the same author, but again, a different series. So it's not that one, it's not that one, it's completely different. I just read the blurb and I found it really interesting, and I trust the author. It's about a woman called Selena. She's an acolyte of the goddess of fate, and she's also an assassin. Have a weak spot with assassins. Female assassins, they're so good. When this brutal vampire conqueror Atreus arrives on her homeland, she is tasked with killing him. In order to do that, she has to gain his trust. It's a standalone. This book I'm actually currently reading, it is Dune. I've seen both of the movies that are currently out right now, but I have not read the book. And I just feel like I need the source material. I'm only 19 pages in. Very complicated read. This is what, you know what I was thinking in the first 20 pages, I was like, this is why I don't read sci-fi. So far, nothing has happened that's made me want to stop reading yet. So that's a positive. And I think what helps with that is that I've seen the movie. Along with Dune 1, we have Dune 2, obviously. So, by the way, the covers are so nice. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Now, still on the topic of fantasy, whatever, Shadow and Bone. Right, let's talk about Shadow and Bone quickly. I have not read the original trilogy of Shadow and Bone, the one with Alina. I have not read it. I have seen the series. I know the series isn't somewhat accurate, especially because I have read Six of Crows. This author has multiple different series in the same universe. There are these people who have magical powers, they're gifted, either be a healer, they can bend metal, or they can do other things. Six of Crows is about this series of 6 misfits, kind of cast out from society. Half of them aren't even friends or don't even know each other, and one thing brings them together, and it is a heist. So the main character, kind of the main guy who plans the heist and everything. His name is Kaz. He recruits 5 other people to take part in this heist with him, basically steal a lot of money. The plot twists are amazing. If you guys haven't read Six of Crows, it's a duology. There's 6 different point of views, and I thought I would find that really annoying, but actually it's really digestible. There's a 3rd series called King of Scars, and that is the one I have here. King of Scars is about a character who shows up in Shadow and Bone. I know exactly what happens in Shadow and Bone. I've read summaries. I don't think personally I would enjoy it. I've opted not to read that. All this to say, this is on my list this summer. It is about King Nikolai. He has been affected by this war. He's got some dark magic in him. There's this girl called Zoya, and she basically leads the Grisha army. So the Grisha are all the people who have the magical gifts, and they essentially work for the royals. Zoya essentially helps Nikolai secure the throne, and the covers, again, gorgeous covers. I feel like I really buy books based off covers now that I'm thinking about it, because all these covers are so nice. On to another popular duology. I love these books. Guys, these books, Dance of Thieves, is also one of the best duologies I have ever read. I have read them before, obviously. I think I rated the first one 4 out of 5 stars and the second one 5 out of 5 because it was incredible. It was amazing. This author, Mary Pearson. Mary, what did you put in these books? There's this girl called Kazi. She was taken in by the royal family of the main kingdom and kind of trained to be part of the army. And one of her missions is to capture this spy that was working against the royal family back during the war. The spy managed to escape the war, and he's still gathering forces and trying to overthrow the main kingdom. So Kazi's objective is to go to another kingdom where the queen believes the spy is residing in, and she has to go and carry out this mission to capture the spy, take him down, bring him back to the queen. The so-called kingdom where the spy is residing in is Jace, I think his name is Jace, yeah, Jace's kingdom. I find the world building in this series really hooking. I really like the way that the royal family kind of works in Jace's kingdom. He is not the oldest son or the oldest child, however, he is the one who is selected to be the next ruler. His kingdom are not recognised by the rest of the kingdoms as an official kingdom. It's very much enemies to lovers because she's kind of trying to work undercover, she's trying not to get caught, and he's trying to protect his kingdom. So yeah, it is a very interesting read. If you guys have time, for sure, read it. It's 100% worth it. And that is why I'll be rereading it this summer. I think that the first 100 pages are very difficult to get through, I will say that. It is pretty difficult, but it's a fantasy book. What do you expect? It's worth it though, 100%. Next up is Powerless. I have read Powerless before. I have not read the sequel. So we've got 2 books here. I think it's part of a trilogy. Gorgeous covers once again. Guys, this is insane. I got this for £1.50 each at a charity shop. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about this book. I enjoyed it, but it was exhausting in the fact that everything was copied from a different series, or I felt that it wasn't very original. It reminded me of The Hunger Games, it reminded me of the Crowns of Naxta series. It's about this girl called Payden. This book reminds me of Red Queen as well. I don't know if you guys have read Red Queen. Red Queen has the same premise. It's about a girl, she's powerless, but she lives in a world where everyone has powers. They're called the elites. In this book, if you're ordinary, then you're kind of shunned from society and you're not that important. And Payden isn't ordinary, but she's pretending to be a psychic to blend in with the elites. One day, she gets thrown into something called the Purging Trials. These trials are going to showcase your powers. Obviously, she is powerless, so it's a bit of a sticky situation for her. I feel FOMO. I feel left out that I haven't finished the series and everybody else has, so I did get the second one. I do kind of want to know what happens next, just out of like satisfy my own curiosity. Pile is growing. I'm a big fan of Julia Quinn. I love that woman. I have 2 shelves at home which are just Julia Quinn books because she makes so many. She is the author of Bridgerton. I have read Bridgerton. It is great. I do love the romance. I do love, you know what, one of the main reasons I love her books so much is that they're so funny. Sometimes she overdoes them, but the Bridgerton books, they're all phenomenal. I have a ranking. If you guys want to see that, let me know. I have a ranking of which ones I like in terms of siblings, which siblings book I like the best. She's got lots of spin-offs based off of maybe the Bridgertons, like ancestors and things like that in the 1600s. By the way, her covers are so bad. Her covers are so like middle-aged, I don't even know, middle-aged woman in a charity shop vibe. They're both from the Blyden family. This one is book 2 and this one's book 3. I have read book 1, I just forget who's in it. Because I read so many of them now that all the characters just blend into one. They're very easy reads. You just read them in a day and you're done. You can take them on holiday. It's nothing too heavy, and I feel like I need some of these to come in between all of that. The following books I have either read already this summer or I'm halfway through reading them. 1,000 Ships. Now, if you know me, you know I love a good Greek retelling. I eat them up. I try and look for every single one, and I try and read every single one. Greek retellings are essentially, I would say they're more female orientated. The author will take a female character, for example, Helen of Troy, or Circe, or Penelope, Odysseus's wife. She will tell the story from her point of view. Now, obviously, in Greek history, you will always get the man's point of view, and you will always understand the strength and the power and how he beat everyone and how he won the war and how he saved the girl. But you never get the women's point of view, and I find that so fascinating that there's a whole genre. The one that I'm halfway through at the moment is 1,000 Ships. Now, this book is about Helen of Troy. Helen of Troy was the wife of a man called Menelaus, and Menelaus was Agamemnon's brother. They married, they were somewhat happy, they were part of the Greek side. Now, there are different point of views depending on who you read, but it's either said that Paris, the Trojan prince, abducted Helen and took her to Troy, or Helen ran away with Paris and went to Troy herself. Now the whole entire war, 1,000 ships were sent because of one lady whose beauty was incredible, and the whole start of the war between the Greeks and the Trojans was because of this one act, the fact that she ran away from her husband. I have read this author before. Her name is Natalie Haynes. If there's one book I would recommend from this author, Stone Blind. It tells the story of Medusa, but through such a different lens. It's so heart-wrenching. There's so many plot twists that you don't expect. It's incredible. The next story has a bit of a story behind it, actually. I feel like everyone and their mum has read this. It's called The Selection. The Selection is a childhood favourite of mine. It is part of a series. It is about this woman called America Singers. Such a Wattpad name. There's so many plot holes in this universe. Reading it back now makes me laugh. She lives in this universe which is set really far in the future. Every person has a social status. So if you're like an 8, that means you are at the bottom of society. You're probably a servant or a slave or something. And if you're number 1, that means you're royalty. You are top of the food chain. I'm pretty sure she's like a 4 or 5. There is something called the selection that happens every time a royal turns of age. So the royal in this case is this prince called Maxon. Maxon is getting ready to marry someone. He needs options. Girls all around the kingdom get an opportunity to sign up for the selection. They put their name in, they put their resume. 25 or 35 girls go to the kingdom and have to go through a series of challenges in order to be the next queen of the realm. She wants to provide for her family. The only catch is she already has a man at home. This is wild. What does she do? She's so conflicted. She wants to help her family, but at the same time she's in love with this other guy. How can she just go and leave everything behind? Me and my friends are doing a sort of fun activity with this. It's my go. I read the book, I annotate it as I would like. Once I have finished all my annotations about stupid things, something that the other person will read and laugh, I send it. I post it to one of my friends. So with 5 of us in total, I'll post it to one of them. They'll do the same thing, read it, annotate it with anything they want, pass it on to the next person. Again and again and again, until it comes back to me and I have a full book full of all our stupid annotations, and I want it. It's like a sentimental thing, but I love the idea that all of us will have written in this. And yeah, I love this book to death so much. It's probably one of my favourites. If you know me, you know I yap about Emily Henry all the time. She's one of my favourites. She does romance like no one else. She's got the banter, she's got the funny little witty remarks. She's got such a good plot line. Each one of her books is so unique and so different. They're all going to be adapted into a screen adaptation, which is so exciting. And her characters are just so well developed. The only book I feel like doesn't fit into everything I just said is Great Big Beautiful Life or Great BBL. I don't like that book that much. It was okay, I finished it, but that's the one Emily Henry book which I felt like was rushed. It's about this girl called Nora and this guy called Charlie, and they are both in the literary world. So Charlie is an editor of books and Nora is a literary agent. Literally the opening chapter got me. When books are your life, or in my case your job, you get pretty good at guessing where a story is going. The tropes, the archetypes, the common plot twists all start to organise themselves into a catalogue inside your brain, divided by category and genre. The husband is the killer, the nerd gets a makeover and without her glasses she's smoking hot, the guy gets the girl, or the other girl does. The details may change from book to book, but there's nothing truly new under the sun. Take for example the small town love story, the kind where a cynical hotshot from New York or Los Angeles gets shipped off to small town USA to run a family-owned Christmas tree farm out of business to make room for a soulless corporation. But while said city person is in town, things don't go to plan, because of course the Christmas tree farm or the bakery or whatever the hero's been sent to destroy is owned and operated by someone ridiculously attractive and suitably available for wooing. Back in the city, the lead has a romantic partner, someone ruthless who encourages him to do what he set out to do and ruins some lives in exchange for that big promotion. He fields calls from her, during which she interrupts him, barking heartless advice from the seat of her Peloton bike. You can tell she's evil because her hair is an unnatural blonde, slicked back a la Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, and also she hates Christmas decorations. As the hero spends more time with the charming baker slash seamstress slash tree farm person, things change for him. He learns the true meaning of life. He returns home transformed by the love of a good woman, and there he asks his Ice Queen girlfriend to take a walk with him. She gapes. She says something like, "In these Manolos? It will be fun," he tells her. On the walk he might ask her to go look at the stars. She snaps, "You know I can't look up right now, I just got Botox." And then he realises he can't go back to his old life. He doesn't want to. He ends his cold, unsatisfying relationship and proposes to his new sweetheart. At this point you find yourself screaming at the book, "You don't even know her, what's her middle name?" And that's why I'm running late to this lunch meeting, because that's my life. The trope that governs my days, the archetype over which my details are superimposed. I'm a city person, not the one who meets the hot farmer, the other one. The uptight, manicured literary agent reading manuscripts from atop her Peloton while a serene beach scene screensaver drifts unnoticed across her computer screen. I'm the one who got dumped. So obviously I'm going to reread it. The next book that I'm kind of halfway through is called Ithaca. Ithaca is another Greek retelling that I was telling you about. It is the story of Penelope of Ithaca, who was Odysseus' wife, while her husband was at war for I think he was at war for 12 years and then he was just at sea for 8 years doing different adventures and stuff. Penelope had a whole life without him. She obviously stayed loyal to him on her island, with raising her son, fighting off all the suitors that were trying to take Odysseus' place. It's a very interesting tone, very light-hearted and funny, which is interesting because the actual story is kind of heavy. This book is called Lessons in Chemistry. This book is about this chemist called Elizabeth Zott. She is the early 1960s. She was really good at cooking. She cooked so well for her children. At one point she gets noticed and she's able to host a cooking show. She goes from being a chemist and being discriminated against just because she was a woman on an all-male team in her research institute, and then she gets a cooking show and she grabs an attention of a whole new audience. This book kind of reminds me of this book called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I think that's the book. It has a very similar energy. The last 4 books I'm going to show you are books that I actually have read in the last couple of weeks. The Hunjin Murders. This book is about a Japanese murder mystery writer who goes to this small town, and from all the locals he hears about this fascinating murder that happened back in 1937, and they're recounting it and stuff, and he gets so interested by it that he goes and gathers as many sources as he can about the original murder, and he wants to essentially tell kind of and recount exactly what happened. That is this book. It's very short. He is basically just explaining what happened. You don't get invested in any of the characters just because it's just a retelling. Like, you're just saying, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And here's where I got my source. So it's not hooking that way. The actual murder mystery itself, again, wasn't that incredible. It's about a locked room murder mystery, which means that there's no way to tell how the killer got in and how the killer got out. I gave it around 2 stars out of 5. Guys, I don't even want to talk about this book, it's so bad. Rock, Paper, Killers. I just saw it at a charity shop and I was like, let me just read it. It was terrible, don't read it. It's about 5 teenagers from Dublin who go to this college to be able to learn Irish because they need to take their exam, and then someone dies, and so bad, so bad. I wanted to bash my head against the wall. So don't read it. I'm not even going to tell you any more about it so that you don't read it. Medea! Another Greek retelling. This was great. This woman called Medea, she is the granddaughter of the sun god, Helios. Out of all her siblings, she's got this magical, innate power, and everyone hates her for it. Her dad is really abusive to her, and she just wants a way out. She just wants to leave this island. Jason and the Argonauts arrive to her island because they want to take the Golden Fleece, and she decides, let me work with them, betray my dad, and take the Golden Fleece, and then I'll marry Jason, and I'll finally be free of my dad. This story essentially goes through her whole life, pretty much. Very gut-wrenching. The Murder Game. It's such a beautiful cover. All these guests gather on New Year's Eve to do a murder mystery party. So everyone has a character, everyone has a role to play, and before they even start the game, someone dies. All these guests know each other. They all know each other because they live in the same town, they've all got some kind of politics. I forgot that I pressed a flower in there. Oh, this is so cute. And it's proper flat. Oh my gosh. And that concludes my summer reading list. I am really excited to get through a lot of these, and I will definitely keep you updated and tell you by the end of summer which ones I have read and which ones I haven't. And it's a nice memory to be able to look back on as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I hope you enjoyed.